Welcome to Uniquely Brilliant, a podcast for creative, quirky, and extraordinary thinkers of all ages and the people who love them. We encourage, inspire, and provide strategies to motivate you to embrace your unique brilliance and realize your potential for success. Hi, I'm Diana Bader, also known as Coach Di. I encourage teens and young adults to become who they are and develop personal success through self-awareness and positivity. You can find me at freshcanvascoaching.com, follow and like the Fresh Canvas Facebook page, or follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Di.
Hello there, I'm Becky Berry. I am a performance coach who helps people level up their lives by smoothing out the relationship between their work lives and their personal lives. You can find my website at beckyberrycoach.com. I'm on Twitter at Becky Berry Coach, and you can find me on my Facebook page, Becky Berry Coach.
Together we are here sharing our thoughts, insights, and experiences from our own uniquely brilliant perspective. All right, it's episode 96, and today we are talking about who do you trust?
Isn't there a song?
Oh, yeah.
Who do you trust?
Yeah.
Yeah, who does it?
It's going to elude me until somewhere in the middle of the podcast,
okay, so
and then it might pop
get
into my
ready.
head.
We'll tell you. Of course, we know you guys listen already know who it is.
I'm thinking George Thorogood is like running in my head right now, but we'll have to.
Because there's a thump thump in it, so it could be. Yeah.
And it's got,
Yeah. Uh-huh. I think you're right. I think it's George Thorogood. Okay. We'll check it out.
Chase that squirrel. All right. Here we are.
Hey, full disclosure, it's the day after Labor Day. We're a little punch drunk. It's okay. We had our first weekend of college football, and we are big fans, so we didn't get a whole lot of sleep this weekend.
No, too many good games to watch.
Yeah. So, who do you trust? Oh, that's a good football topic, too. All right, good.
Mm-hmm.
See, there we go. We won't do too many football metaphors, I don't think.
We'll see.
So,
well,
who do you trust, Diana? She didn't know I was going to do that. But.
You know,
because I made a list this morning.
You made a list of who you trust?
Well, I made a list of good questions about who I trust.
Yeah. You know, the thing that resonates in my head, especially when I started down this entrepreneurial journey, not that I was never really off it, but when I got deeper into it, is they always tell you, you know, for a business, you've got to be, you know, people want to know, like, and trust you. Mm-hmm. And those are the keys. So you have to be known, you have to be likable, and then they will trust you. Mm-hmm. And then they will buy from you.
So who do you trust and who do you buy from? This is a nice way to avoid the question, but...
No. I mean, that resonated in my head first. I was...
Okay, just checking.
I'm really big on customer service.
Yeah.
So that is something that will keep me coming back.
Uh-huh.
And it's really funny because it's to the point where... Even when my kids were little, I mean, it's now ingrained in their head, but they used to lean over and go, oh, you know, give them a good tip because they were at the table and they talked to us and they brought us extra drinks or they did this or they did that, you know. This is a really good person to give more money to, you know.
I love it.
And they became very aware. There's certain stores I know I can go into that I like. Publix comes to mind. Most of the time that I go into Publix, there's really nice people in there. Uh-huh. And very friendly. Chick-fil-A, I mean, you gotta, that's what they build the cornerstone of their business around.
Right.
Yeah. So.
That's great. None of those support you upon your journey in life. So who do you trust?
Who do I trust? See,
I'll start.
Go for it.
Okay. Because I made a list. I had a head
start.
I
know, you made a list. I didn't make a
because,
list.
you know, I was ready. I exercised this morning. I hung upside down, so my brain's working.
Oh.
Sorry. I should have, you know, like called you, texted you and go, hey, beware. So, I made a list. So let's just go through the list. So, of things you can trust.
Oh,
you know, that maybe you want to trust. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
You want to trust your own gut.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, don't laugh. The next one, you're going to just laugh. The process. She is laughing because that's my thing. Yeah, okay, and we'll come back to that. Trust others. Mm-hmm. Like I trust you. I know you trust me.
Yeah.
Trust yourself.
Yeah.
What you know. Mm-hmm. What you can do. There's a whole list there. And then trust the universe.
Yeah.
Okay? I think that kind of covers...
I like that list.
Yeah, I think it kind of covers everything. So, I think I'll start with the one that's the hardest for me.
Okay.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
Do you have any trouble with it? Because neither one of us like directions.
No. Sometimes I don't even trust that there is a process.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, come on. You've seen the thing up on my mirror upstairs that says, trust the process. You created it. I don't even trust my own process, which is that nasty habit I have of second guessing everything, which, chews up a lot of time, causes decision fatigue, because, if I don't trust the process I created and I don't go through these things that I know will work and I've done it,
yeah,
then I'm having to make an alternate decision at every step along the way. I don't know what it is. I mean, perhaps it's just my personality. However, I must say, you know this, and some of our podcast listeners know this because I've talked about it before. The only process I've ever trusted was Al-Anon.
Mm.
But then I had, what did I say? When did I go? Ken was 4. So I'd already had 8 years of therapy before I ever graced their door.
Mm-hmm.
But I really did surrender to that process because it worked for me and it made sense to me.
Well, and one of the things I think about trusting the process is you have to be ready for it and ready to accept the process. And if you're not, then you're going to rebel against the process.
Jeez, 60 years of this, please.
Yeah, but you just do. It's you got to buy into the process before you're going to.
Well, but I think I buy into it. Well, in that diet I do.
Yeah.
That really, but you know why? I wonder.
Fast
results. I got fast results,
you.
right? And I got fast results from Al-Anon too.
Yeah.
It really made a difference in how I looked at things, because when I heard it, it just kind of made all that work I'd done before I got in the door. It organized it for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's it. Well, yeah. I do have to have fast results. I have no patience unless, it's with clients or kids. But with myself, I'm like, let's go, next thing.
Well, and I think that's one of the hardest things about developing your own process. For me, I need to develop my own process a lot of the time. But for me to buy into it, I do have to see some results.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they are slow to come, I can still sometimes stay on it, but sometimes, yeah, it depends. If I'm not getting something out of it,
right,
and it doesn't have to be what I expected, but if I'm not getting something out of it, then it wears on me,
right,
and then I start second guessing it.
Because you had that big calendar. You still have that? Did you get a new one for 2016? The one, the John Acuff one, is that?
Yeah, I love that.
So does that work?
It works because it's in my face.
The wind jar works. That process works for me. And mine's kind of full. Yeah. I was like, whoa, look at this. Here's one I'm wrestling with right now with my work is everybody's telling me I should market differently. You should do this, you should do that, you should have an online product, you should have this. And, I'm like, I have clients I have enough business and I don't want thousands of people. I'm not interested. That's not me. I want hundreds of people, and I'm getting there. So it's,
well,
that's my process.
But
right?
you know what word you said with all of that?
What?
You said you should, and
yeah.
You don't let people should all over you.
Right, it should all over you. Yeah. Well, you know what? That's. I guess that's an important part of hello. We'll just go right to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're talking about trusting my process, so that means trust me.
Yeah.
And I do trust me. It's just not the process.
Well, and I
trust, well, no, I don't. That's not true. I trust me in lots of ways, but there are others that I don't.
Well, I think when you know something very well, and you know that you know it, you trust it.
Right.
When...
Yeah, I trust myself coaching, right? Never, I rarely ever say, occasionally there's did that really come out of my mouth? But that's rare.
Yeah. So some of the things that you've done well, and you know you can do well. Those things are easy to trust. It's the things that you're developing. It's the things you're learning.
Yeah.
That you just sometimes you just question yourself on, and a lot of times even when you get feedback, and we'll go into this later about the people you trust. It's sometimes I'll take it and I'll go, okay, thank you, just like brush it off. And then there's some people that can say something to me and it's like, oh, wow, okay, I take this totally to my heart.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's important. I think the trust, I had something to say and I lost it.
I hate that.
Darn it. Yeah.
It'll come back.
Well, oh, I know. So we talked about pivoting in episode 95. No. 94, sorry. Episode 94, and the essence of knowing how to of pivoting is trusting yourself, because when you see that you need to change something, you've got to trust what you saw.
Well, it's that, but it actually encompasses a lot of those. You got to trust the universe. You've got to trust the process of the pivot.
Right.
I mean,
I always trust that.
Well, what's really
it's not written down.
No, you know what it is?
What is it?
You've got what the essence of a pivot is to have a piece of you grounded.
Oh yeah, and we said this. Yeah. Yes,
and so when you're pivoting and you're partly grounded, then it's easier to trust.
Yeah.
And that may be the problem with some of the processes that we can't trust, is because it's not grounded.
Right.
I've been thinking, it's really interesting because I've been thinking a lot about being grounded this weekend, because I'm not finding myself all that grounded.
I can feel you're not.
And I haven't been for a really long time. And I got a call from a friend that I haven't talked to in like forever. And this person grounds me more than anybody in my life has ever grounded me. And it was just such a weird thing. It was like, it made me recognize how ungrounded I was. And it was really kind of fascinating. So I've been going back through a lot of different things, going, okay, ooh, you know what? You're not grounded here. Ooh, okay, I can see where you are here.
Awesome. So you just did our next episode. So I wrote it down. That's our next topic. So 97 will be a deep dive into grounding.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I did. I wrote it down because I was like, wow.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this a lot when I was working with the pivot.
If you're not grounded, there's a lot of stuff you're not trusting.
Yes,
right.
It all goes hand in hand. Yeah.
Right. And particularly with being grounded. I mean, I got to trust that ground's under my feet. People notice that I'm pretty trusting and pretty stable, and I'm like, well, there's a solid surface under my feet. I'm pretty, comfortable with that. But on days that I'm not, I have to like you say, parse it out. So we'll talk about that one some more. So this trusting what you know,
yeah,
I think is hard.
It is.
That's where the shoulds come in.
Yeah.
That's where the second guessing comes in.
Well, and that's where everybody seems to have an opinion.
Right. And particularly if you poll, like I do, if you poll for approval, then you're just leaving yourself wide open to not trusting yourself.
Well, and starting like this new no thigh zone thing.
Oh, good. That was what I was going to talk about. Yeah. Thank you.
My new business and my new part of it, when I was doing that and I was working through it so rapidly, there were a few people and a few things that popped in my head that I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to run this by them.
Right.
And it wasn't so much the fear of what they might say that might be true. It was the fear of me listening to what falseness they may bring to it.
Right. So it's nothighzone.com, NOTHYZONE.com for no thyroid, because Diana's going to be without a thyroid here pretty soon.
Yep. And I wanted to provide support for people in the same situation, because
positive
support. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So you knew who to trust and share that with.
Yeah.
I mean, because obviously you shared it with me, and I was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it at first, when I was first doing it, because the other thing I think that happens with trusting ourselves is sometimes ideas and feelings and things are so big that we don't really know what to do with them.
Right.
And just the enormity is so overwhelming that, and sometimes, and a lot of times it's like really good stuff, but you don't, it's like, whoa, where did this come from? And then you go into some of this stuff with yourself, why would I deserve this?
Was this like this? Was it huge?
This was huge.
Because I think when you described it to me the first time, you said it was huge. Of course, I knew it was huge.
But the one thing, back to sort of the grounding thing, but the one thing was when, and we'll bring the universe into here a little bit too. But
Yeah.
the one thing was when I got my diagnosis with cancer, my immediate thought was, this isn't about me. And I had no idea what that meant.
Well, that was
at
my
the
thought
time.
too.
And
I think I said something like that. Yeah.
I'm like, I had no idea what that meant. But I trusted the universe. I trusted the process of wherever this was going to take me. Something would show up.
Okay, so this is like a triple whammy, because under all that is you didn't just trust the process and trust the universe. You can only trust the process and trust the universe when you trust yourself. Mm-hmm. So from the very beginning, you were trusting your ability to deal with anything, whatever, and then you brought the other trust factors in there, the trusted parties in there.
Yeah, well, and the enormity of it, the weight of the enormity of it was much less because I could see how different things that had been, forming in my life for years were starting to play out and could play out in this thing.
So could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because that really will give a better picture of how you're trusting the different pieces.
Well, when I started on this entrepreneurial journey, part whatever it is at this point.
Part 8, probably. Maybe 10.
I got surrounded myself with a lot of people that are also entrepreneurs, mostly ones who are way more beyond where I'm at and where I was at. And in order to learn from them.
Right.
But there was a lot of should. And you should do this and you should do that and you should do this. And in the last year or so, I've been kind of weaning down those voices, taking what I could from them, like we talk about, taking what you need and leaving the rest. And, I didn't always know why I was, certain things were like clicking with me, and I didn't know how I was going to do that. But they were things that were resonating, things that I felt comfortable that I could do eventually. I just wasn't quite sure when and why or how.
How it would play out, yeah.
But
that's the trust the universe part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the process and everything else. And then there were some things that just didn't feel right. And there were some people that just didn't feel right, and some voices that just didn't feel
that
right.
Trust your gut.
Yeah,
which glossed over.
Yeah, which is really how I've run my life when I've run it the best.
Right.
When I haven't run my life the best is when I stop listening to my gut.
Well, yeah, and when you don't trust your gut, then you're just susceptible to all those shoulds.
Yeah, because you're second guessing yourself and who am I to?
Well, and the only way you ever second guess yourself is when a should comes in there. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's just no way you second guess yourself without using that word. Well, I should be doing this. Wait, I shouldn't, so should is always an equation in the second guessing.
It's the shoulds, or it's the, what was the one we just did? The things that hold you back, the fear.
Yeah.
It's either the shoulds or the fear that get in the way. Mm-hmm. Those things that hold you back, those, they're not always shoulds. Sometimes it's just, I don't have the skill, and, like, I'm not technical. You close yourself off to what else is out there. So I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but talking to my son about his future career that he wants to do around the computers and video games and stuff. And when I was asking something, he's like, "Well, I'll just hire somebody to do that." I mean, he didn't even think twice about that.
He trusted that there would be a way to do it,
and that there would be somebody else and he would be fine, delegating to somebody who knows that part better.
Right.
And I think a lot of times what happens with this trust thing is we forget that we can surround ourselves with these people.
Right.
And that it's okay. That's another trust thing, that you trust somebody else who knows it better.
Right.
To do good for you.
Right. Well, and to trust that they're going to be out there. Right. You trust that, because that's trusting the universe. And just by saying, well, I'll just hire somebody, he's saying, well, I know the universe is going to put the person out there for me, and boom.
Yep.
And that's always true. If you, always, let me just say it one more time. Always true. That if you say it's going to be out there, it's going to be out there, and now it's up to you to recognize it. Mm-hmm. But at the heart of trusting in the universe is staying open, to what's out there. right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
getting out of our own way.
Yeah, that I tend to do the most.
Well, we all do. I mean, I think that's, that's truly the, the nature of the beast. So,
Well,
but let's talk about the hard one.
Okay. What?
Oh, you know what the hard one is. Don't look at me like you don't know
I
what
was
it
like,
is.
wait,
Others. Trusting other people.
Oh, yeah, that's my worst. That's probably my worst one.
Well, yeah, because I tried to get you to talk about it. It's 20 minutes almost in now, right now, and you still won't do it. So I'm just going to label it.
Okay, trusting others. Yes,
And see,
it's very
that's
hard.
the one. And then we're opposite with this.
We are.
But our whole thing is different. Our whole
you're. You know what? Yeah.
because I'm still, part of it's because I'm still where I grew up. Mm-hmm. So I have a huge family, and I just have a lot of underpinnings. I have a lot of foundation.
Yeah.
Plus, I've just had different life experience.
Yes. Yeah, you have. And this is one of the things that I have found out and figured out recently that's been really interesting for me is even though I have been away from home, what I could still consider home because that's where I grew up.
In Ohio?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And even though, I've been through all this other crazy stuff in my life and this weird roller coaster ride that I chose because I wanted to spread my wings. I wanted to fly.
You were trying out stuff.
Yeah, because that's just me. Mm-hmm. I wasn't born to just be in one place at one time. I just could. That would drive me insane.
Right. Nobody believes I've been here my whole life, so
yeah,
I did it spiritually.
Yeah, yeah,
bizarre.
But
you weren't.
No, but the thing is, every time I go home, since I've been able to connect with people on Facebook, stuff like that, I found out that I actually still have that foundation. I just didn't really realize it.
Right.
It's been really amazing, especially in the last year or so, the people that have come out of the woodwork.
Like your person.
Oh, yeah.
That you talked to.
Yeah.
Or that you hadn't talked to in a while.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That it's like no time's passed. It's like, and I've told people about this too, that if you ever went to my hometown and your car broke down, I have people there that I could call that would take you in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Because
you know me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've never developed that anywhere else.
Yep, I have that. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, trusting new people. Like me. I mean, I could list, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But I know some of the people you trust. So, because I know as you started on this version of your entrepreneurial journey, your personal life's been kind of rocky, right? And up in the air. And you've still cultivated these trust partners. Yeah. I mean, you've attracted them.
Yeah. And I think part of it has to do with where you are in your life.
Right.
Some people are just in your life because they're your kids' friends, parents are your kids' friends.
That reason, season, or a lifetime, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And I think that I've always been more aware of people I can trust anyway. I mean, I do have really strong gut, and I have a really strong, empath vibe when I walk into a room, when I walk anywhere.
Yep.
I mean, I can feel if I'm going to trust somebody and how much I feel like I have like a degree, like a trust degree.
Oh, I like that. So, okay. So we haven't even talked about that. They're degrees of trust.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So, I can tell if this is going to be, to me, I always equate it to a pool.
Yeah.
Am I going to stay in the
shallow
end with this person, or am I going to be able to jump off the diving board into the deep end?
So what did you think when we first met?
When we first met, it was like, oh my gosh, I want to be around her energy. It's like... And,
I felt the same way.
Well,
the guy Greg knew, it would be like that.
Yeah. And that's another thing that's really interesting when you're developing friendships, is having other friends who know, or other people in business that know, this would be a great match.
Right.
This would be a really cool thing for this person. And being aware enough not only of the people you're bringing into your world, but the people that you can introduce to other people. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that when I'm not a big fan of networking like you are, but...
I wonder why.
It has nothing to do with the fact I'm a total introvert, which nobody believes. But when I go to a networking meeting, one of the things I really like doing, besides meeting people and hearing their stories, is seeing who I can connect. And usually by the time I'm done at a networking meeting, I've made connections for other people almost more than I've made them for myself.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, ooh, your story would match with this. It's kind of like playing that game Concentration.
Right. Oh, I love Concentration. Yeah.
It's like you flip the card over. Ooh, hold on. That guy was over there by the stage, Okay, let's flip him over and bring these two people.
Oh, gosh. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's how I approach
I
that
think
kind
it's
of situation.
really effective.
But, back to the degrees. Yeah, I can feel, that's where I do trust my gut a lot. And sometimes I've been misled, but, I don't always start off in the shallow end with a lot of people. There are some people that I meet that for me, just because of the way that I am and because I listen and I'm kind of open, that will tell me their whole freaking life story, sitting in an airport.
We covered it in about 3 meetings, I think. Mm-hmm. Both of our life stories back and forth. Because of that instant trust.
And for me, just because I've had some different life experiences, it takes a little bit more for me to open up. But there's certain pieces like I'll open up, and it's
there's transparent, and then there's me. So which is not always good.
But this goes way, way back, because I remember even in middle school, a friend of mine telling me that we could get all of your friends together, and none of us would have the whole picture.
Right.
And I'm like, I wasn't sure how to take that, but I didn't hate it. Part of that has to do with, I'm sure, the introversion and
that mystique thing.
The mystique thing and being a Scorpio. You don't put it all out on the table. But there are a few people in my world that do know the whole story, or at least know enough of it, or I'm willing to tell them.
Right.
Yeah, but that's all I need. I don't need the whole world to know the whole story.
Right. Right. So let's wrap up with the big one.
Yep.
The universe. Trust the universe. Now, this, you and I have PhDs in this.
Yep.
We are so good at this because, I'm an optimist. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I have to ask people, do I sound like, Pollyanna or, Mary Poppins or ridiculous? And they're like, no, and you should. I'm like, okay. But that's that grounding plus that absolute trust in the universe. Now, have I gotten thrown some curveballs? Yeah. But I don't tend to go, oh, woe is me, there's a curveball. I'm like, okay, so what are we going to do? There's not a whole lot of drama, even in dramatic moments, even in dramatic moments. But, I would take this back to when I was a little kid in church, because I grew up in the South in a Presbyterian church that was very liberal. And what I didn't realize till 20, 30 plus years later was that the universe, which is now, I kind of use God and universe kind of interchangeably, because I don't see God as a person. I see God as it's bigger than that.
It's more of a spiritual thing.
Bigger than that.
Yeah.
But I had a very positive picture. There was no fire and brimstone. There was none of that. So it was always positive. Mm-hmm. And that's my foundation. Yeah. So for all the craziness and insanity that I went through for a really long time, I mean, there are people who thought I should have been locked up. Maybe I should have. But there was always that sitting under there. Always sitting under there. And I don't know if it was the right message to the right, I was the right person to receive that message. But it really has informed every single thing I've done since then, so that everything I've learned about trusting the universe since then just fit with what I already knew. Yeah. That it was benign, that it was not even benign, that it was on my side, that it was a good thing.
Well, and I think that's where this, for me, I think my spiritual side and trusting my gut and that whole empath piece all kind of work together.
Ooh, I never thought about it that way.
Because I have had a very strong spiritual foundation. I was blessed with nobody telling me how I had to think spiritually. Mm-hmm. I was introduced to a lot of things, and so I remained open and curious. Mm-hmm. And I've read all different texts from all different religions and all different things. And one of my big skills, kind of like I was explaining with networking, one of my huge, big talents is being able to put pieces together.
Right.
And seeing parallels as opposed to opposition.
Right. Absolutely.
And so that and I'm not saying there's been plenty of times that I've dwelled for way longer than I should have in negative spaces.
Ooh, you said should.
I know.
Just saying.
I was stuck in a bunch of should, but
right, always that'll put you in a negative space.
But I always knew I wasn't going to stay there.
Yeah,
there was always this little tiny light. Even sometimes it was like a pinpoint.
I totally know. I totally know what you're talking about.
And that was all I needed.
Mm-hmm.
Was that pinpoint to know that this is not going to stay. And I think that's one of the things that happens when you learn to trust the universe, is you know that things are going to change all the time. And so when big things happen, they're not as big. And when little things happen, they don't bother you as much.
Can you trust the universe if you don't trust yourself? I'm just picturing what you're saying, and I'm like, you can't. You can't
but
trust.
You know what?
Can you trust the universe if you don't trust yourself? Because how do you see it?
You know, that...
You see what I'm thinking?
Yeah, but I think sometimes you can trust the universe without realizing that you're trusting yourself.
Well,
when
yeah.
Sometimes your self-esteem and your circumstances and everything have got you so low and so not believing in yourself that you're holding on to something and you don't realize that part of what you're holding on to is you.
Yeah, I agree. I can see that. Well, I just think, I do that thing every morning where my I don't know, my mantra, I guess it is keep my eyes, ears, heart, and mind open to what's out there for me today, which is essentially saying, please keep me out of my own way today and let me see what the universe has out there for me on offer. And there have been times when things have been right in front of my face and I didn't realize it. Well, it is. I'll realize it and I'll act on it, but then I'll go back. I was like, whoa, how did that happen?
Yeah.
More so than not seeing it all. I'm sure I've missed plenty of opportunities. But I think it's really important to, get out of your way so, the universe can act it on your, can put things in front of you and you can see it and you can, identify it.
Mm-hmm. And I think you just have to, I think it's just something to, when other things happen, I think it's just another thing is to question. So because nothing comes all negative or all positive. Mm-hmm. It's more, what is this going to teach me?
Right. And what am I, what am I going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
So, and maybe we'll wrap up with this, but one of my favorite quotes is from the place I heard it was the Best Exotic Hotel Marigold for the Old and Beautiful. And it's, everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end. And I so believe in that. And people think I'm nuts, but I'm like, it's okay. But I do believe in it.
I love it.
I believe in it
Mm-hmm.
because I believe I can trust the universe. And I've had it proven over and over and over again. Even if it's something I don't want.
Yeah.
Even if it's something I don't want.
Well, or you don't realize you need.
Well, I'm just thinking about both. So,
Yeah.
Something I totally don't want. So, yeah. Or Ken having cancer, or, those things. But I'm like, but it's going to be okay in the end. And maybe it's not going to be the picture I had at the end. But that's that trusting in the universe that makes me be able to say, it'll be okay in the end. Mm-hmm. Didn't say it'll be perfect in the end.
Never.
It'll be okay in the end. Got anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
Alrighty. So we'll take a minute and chew over the best thing we said today and give it back to you in a minute as the stamp of brilliance.
Alrighty, our stamp of brilliance today is everything will be all right in the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end.
It's not yet the end. I like the yet. I always like that part. That's from my favorite movie, The Best Exotic Hotel Marigold. So I think that wraps up trust really well.
I think so too. Well, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please share it with a friend. Also, take a minute and rate it and leave a review on iTunes. Check out our website at uniquelybrilliant.me and sign up to have the podcast delivered directly to your inbox. Shoot any thoughts, comments, suggestions to talk the number 2, us at uniquelybrilliant.me. You can also reach out to us on our Facebook page, and don't forget to like us.
Until next time.